Hey guys, I'm JanetOnOccasion, and today we're playing the Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. So, as you can see, I'm playing as the Lizardmen, and I know everyone's playing bloody Lizardmen these days, but yeah, I haven't got caught up with all the DLC units. I've just gone pretty traditional, to be honest. Got a couple of things that are new, though. I've got the red-crested skink chief. So, yeah, I got this guy. He's nice and cheap, and on a horned one, he's got some good armor piercing, some good anti-large, which I think makes him quite handy. He's also got poison, which is pretty cool. Very high attack stats if you proc the warrior's crest, but he is also just... he's pretty flimsy. It's not got a huge amount of health. Yeah, he's not the best thing in the world. You can put his attack stats up pretty high so he can duel with some of the best of them. Also, the Opal Amulet for the damage resistance. He's got some good utility. And, yeah, he's not too expensive, which I like. Also, front line is mostly skinks. I wanted plenty of skinks just to sort of throw at things. And Croxigores for dealing with any armor. Because Marauder Champions, I think, are quite popular in this one. Marauder Champions are very good for sort of dealing with Temple Guard and the like. And seeing as how most of the damage dealers for Norsca are either big armored targets or... they're things that aren't great at killing armor. Temple Guard are pretty good, so yeah, I decided not to fall for that trap. So I don't like Temple Guard anyway. I prefer going with sort of mobile units and then, you know, cheap infantry generally. That's how I roll. But anyway, so I've got the Croxigores for dealing with sort of Marauder Champions and things, but they're also very sturdy, have a lot of mass, and they can hold out a fair bit, especially with loads of skinks taking the damage for them. Also here I've got Skink Priest of Beast, so he's got Transformation of Kadon, and he's got Flock of Doom. So Flock of Doom, good for big blobs of infantry, and seeing as I've got quite a small front line, that Flock of Doom should hit a lot of units. Also, Transformation of Kadon, it's just a fun spell, you know, summon something to go chase people about. It's a laugh. They're not totally necessary, but it's nice to have some terror against a fairly low leadership faction, such as Norsca. Also here you can see I have Horned Ones, the Pocket Pack Cohort, which I haven't vanguarded, now I just got them for the better attack stats, anti-large and armor piercing, and the Horned Ones, they're huge armor piercing. And same on this side, 2 more Horned Ones. That's a lot of Horned Ones. Yeah, I have a lot of Horned Ones. Yeah, could have probably just gone with Cold One Riders for the anti-large, because all of the armoured stuff that I'd be fighting would be anti-large, but Horned Ones are fun. I wanted to go with them. So my opponent here, he's got a pretty cool army. It's a good mix of stuff. Here you can see Marauder Javelins. These guys are just so good. They are so cost-effective in this matchup, because they don't really have to worry about too much long-range stuff. There's no cheap archer unit that can kill them easily, so they get a lot of good Javelin hits and things like Croxigores or Cold Ones, whatever. It doesn't even matter. They're very good for that. Also here, Skin Wolves, the armoured ones, although I think most of the anti-large that Lizardmen have tends to be armour-piercing too, so I'm not sure that's a worthwhile investment. I think you can just do away with the armour, because even 70 armour is not a huge amount. So I think to go with the standard Skin Wolves, save yourself a little bit of money. But they're not half bad, they're not half bad. Really good anti-large, really good attack damage. They can do a lot of work. They are weak to fire though, which does make them risky in this matchup these days. A lot of fire with salamanders and things. Also, Brutes of the Hound, a load of Marauder Berserkers. He has a Skin Wolf Werekin that I didn't actually spot straight away, which is scary. Also he has Wulfric the Wanderer, so obviously Hunter Champions is very scary, and the ship, what's the ship called again? I forgot what it's called. Seafang? Seafang, yes. Seafang is brilliant at killing millions of skinks, so oh dear. Also, Icehorn Marauders. He does have some Vermeer Warriors, which are very, very reliable here. That Armor Sundering is rather nice, especially, you know, if you've got a lot of Berserkers, the Armor Sundering is very useful, but also very good armor piercing themselves. They're very, very sturdy. So, yeah, and some Spearmen dotted about. And in the back, Beasts of Tashnar, very good anti-large, cheap unit for chasing things down. Lovely. So, everything's just going to get stuck in here. Big old mosh pit, Brutes of the Hound taking some damage, use a Flock of Doom, try and whittle these guys down a bit. And sadly, my Skink Chief is a little bit too far forward. And here's Transformation of Kadon. I just wanted to throw something at these Marauder Hunters. Over here, getting on top of these Skin Wolves. Over on this side, he actually started chasing my Horned Ones, so I managed to get a really good sandwich here and just completely wipe them out. But did do a lot of damage to the Horned Ones. You know, they are very good. They will do a lot of damage very quickly, the Skin Wolves. They're very glass cannony. Also, Pocket Pack Cohort over here fighting the Beast of Tashnar, which do have the anti-large. I'm trying to get into those Javelins. Over on this side, my Horned Ones are fighting Spearmen as well as the Skin Wolves, so I do need to pull them out at some point. Over here, keeping the Marauder Hunters busy. And over here, this is bad. Red Crested Skink Chief, I've used some of his abilities, but Wulfric is on the case. And Wulfric can hit pretty damn hard with Hunter of Champions. On me, I'm going to be a lot slower, a lot less armor, and a lot less melee defense. He's going to get some good hits. Luckily, I've still got my Croxigores in here fighting, which is something, but the Werekin and the Vermeer Warriors are holding here very, very well, and my Croxigores are struggling. Horned Ones charging into the back. Nice rear charge. They'll do a lot of damage, those Vermeer Warriors, in a hurry. So over here I did pull out with my horned ones. I need to get them back in again. Over here, Pocket Pack Cohort really have been getting worn down just trying to fight these javelins and fighting through the beast of Tashnar. So things aren't looking great there. My skink chief, my red-crested skink chief, I've used all of his buffs, but he's a little too late. He is running away now, and that is a problem. He has very little health. I mean, 500 is nothing. Here, nice Flock of Doom, trying to whittle through what remains of all this infantry. There's a lot of it, so getting some extra damage in there is nice. My Manticore is done. He's off. But here you can see the Skinwolf Werekin is trying to chase down my red-crested skink chief, so I need to keep an eye on that. Still got some croc skulls in the front line, which is very nice, and over here I'm just going to get my horned ones to help the Pocket Pack Cohort, try and wipe those guys out in a hurry so I can move on to the next unit. You can see here the skin wolves, they actually ended up running away just from my skinks, which is pretty funny. So here I am getting the red-crested skink chief out of there. Croc skulls have to run in here along with the horned ones to try and bog down this Skinwolf Werekin. I can't have him chasing me around all day. Here, another boat coming in. He did actually get a really nice one across my bow earlier, which is why he's got 80 kills. Little sod. Anyway, so got all my guys charging in, getting these berserkers bogged down. I got the croc skulls doing some damage, but these Famir warriors are anchoring this very, very well. So here, get rid of those berserkers. They're unbreakable, of course, which means I have to fight them for a long time. But nice rear charge. You can see the Famir warriors are struggling. Over here, I do have this skin. Excuse me, this Skinwolf Werekin completely bogged down. He's not going anywhere. Still loitering with my red-crested skink chief. He's having a whale of a time. But annoyingly, these Marauder Spearmen have managed to come out. So I'm pulling out some skink cohorts to get on top of them. And luckily for me, he hasn't noticed these Skinwolves. He hasn't noticed they're back in the fight. So over here, before anything can get back into the fight, I'm charging at it. That's right, I just want to get rid of stuff before it can come back in, but annoyingly they didn't break too quickly, so I did suffer a bit of damage. Over here I've got my Skink Priest of Beast trying to fight these Icehorn Marauders. I'm hit with a Flock of Doom, which isn't the most useful thing to do, but he's going to lose this fight. He's going to lose this fight if he's just fighting them on his own. And annoyingly, these Marauder Javelins are, well, they're throwing Javelins pretty predictably, so I need to keep moving, get on top of those guys. Here you can see the Skinwolf Werekin is actually doing great fighting all this stuff. But they're keeping him busy. Over here you can see the Skin Wolves did come back in to try and deal with my red-crested skink chief. He's actually broken again. I think he only got grazed once and he broke. But that's fine. I hit him with some nice buffs he was going, and I managed to chase down these Skin Wolves with the Pocket Pack Cohort and the Horned ones. So hopefully they'll break nice and quickly, but I'm really running out of units here. The Famir Warriors still going. Over here these Spearmen are still very, very healthy here. My Lord, super injured, and Wulfric is still doing alright, but I have shattered that Skinwolf Werekin. That's going to free up a lot of units for me, and he is splitting up his troops a little bit. He did have these Marauders Rampage, which means I can charge them rather happily. Now I'm getting into Wulfric and the Famir Warriors with that really nice armor piercing from the Horned ones, and that's going to go a long way. So, Red-Crested Skink Chief, trying to keep up his vigor. Just anything I can do to stop him from wavering. You know, that's all I can do. So, my Skink Priest, I did get out of the fight with the Icehorn Marauders because they were just so far away, and all I have left is pretty maneuverable. So I decided just to get him out of there so he wouldn't suffer any more harm. Get Flock of Doom on the Marauder Spearman just to do what damage I can. Skink Cohort running in from one way. I'm even charging in with my Skink Priest. My Skink Cohort's coming in the other way, and you can see the Croc Skulls have actually rampaged. They're going to be on top of them. So here I have managed to break the Famir Warriors because I do have Horned ones, Pocket Pack Cohort, and Horned ones in here, which are all pretty great for that. Does hit me with a boat. The last of the Berserkers there get dealt with by the Croxigors, who are then going to charge in. Wulfric is now breaking, which is brilliant news. But, oh god, yep, his Skin Wolves are back. His Skin Wolves are back, he's noticed them, and he's going to start chasing. I need to keep the Red-Crested Skink Chief away. And here, these Marauder Spearmen, they're going to get bailed out pretty well. These Skin Wolves can do very well against the Croxigors. So I'm charging in with everything now that Wulfric is broken. So everything now is charging these Skin Wolves. They should take a lot of damage on the charge, and hopefully it'll keep me in the fight. Certainly scared the crap out of these Spearmen, so that's good. So they're broken, but Wulfric has come back. He has some other units that have returned. But yeah, everything I have is super damaged, but luckily I have a lot of units. I have a lot of units here. Could cause a chain rout pretty quickly, though. So he's trying to run away and he realizes he has to get in the fight. So he gets bogged down by basically everything. I peel off one unit to go for the Icehorn Marauders, but that is enough to trigger army losses. And that is a Pyrrhic victory. So yeah, real close one. Real close one. I mean, honestly, I think if he just remembered those Skin Wolves, he might have had me. Because I was really running out of units there. You know, everything I had was super injured. I had nothing healthy left. So, yeah, just having just one extra unit of Skin Wolves in any of those engagements could have turned it. Just luckily for me, after the battle had sort of, that initial engagement had sort of run its course, I just had a lot more maneuverable units than he did, so I was able to just throw my entire force at one thing after another, and that was the only way they could stay in the fight. You know, one at a time. If I'd spread these guys out and gone after different targets, I would have been completely devastated, but luckily I had maneuverability on my side, and luckily all my cavalry, although devastated, were still in the fight. They were still in the fight at the end, and I needed them. I needed all of them. That was brutal. Definitely a mistake with the red-crested skink chief. Sending him straight in. Just the attacks from the horned one. That charge of his, he ends up so much deeper into an enemy formation than anyone else that he just gets secluded. So you've got to be really careful of that. So I should have just left him hanging back and found a target for him, really. Yeah, it wasn't ideal having him bogged down like that. He's surrounded by berserkers with Hunter of Champions lowering his armor. He was going to take a ton of damage. Luckily, though, he was a pretty good distraction. You know, being that injured, he's such a juicy target. So I was able to sort of pull units away from the main engagement. When he did get some skin walls back, he just went straight for the skink chief, which I was able to catch out. You know, I had units that were quicker. The skink chief himself is nice and quick on the horned one, so it helped. It helped a lot. Definitely helped a lot. But that Werekin did a number on me, that's for sure. Only 15 kills, but those were on expensive units, and he did a lot of damage. Very scary. Werekin, really like the Werekin in this matchup. Very, very useful. He can just duel any of the big monsters. He's very good at that. So, very good. Very good. Very well played. I'm amazed these guys got 110 kills. That seems an obscene number of kills for a unit of spearmen. I'm honestly not sure how that even happened, but he did, so well played to that unit of spearmen. 110, not a single chevron. I'm assuming it was all skinks, but I'm amazed skinks couldn't beat them up, to be honest. That's sort of insane. They got 110 kills. I'm very impressed. 122 for the berserkers. That makes more sense. But 110 for spearmen is absolutely insane. Pretty impressive. Also, Marauder Hunters, they did some really good work to a lot of my cav, to my Croxigors, and that was with me just throwing everything at them to try and shut them down early, because if you let them use all their ammunition up, they have killed a lot of very expensive things. They are very cost effective, and I knew my front line would hold a bit. So it kind of worked out alright, but man, that was close. That was very close, for sure. So, yeah, very well played, Guillermo here. So, guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.